Hi, this is Nick Barrett from Pendragon and you are listening to Live Prog. No, you are watching Live Prog.
Here we are, Live Prog in Leiden, with Mr. Adrian Jones from 9 Stones Close. Well, nice to meet you here.
Good afternoon, thanks for coming over.
I'm sorry?
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. Well, we are here at your home studio. Well, to talk, of course, about 9 Stones Close, because I heard a lot of good things about it. And I was, well, very interesting what the story behind it was. But well, before we get to that, can you tell a little bit of what is your background in music?
Well, in playing music, I actually started learning to play guitar when I was 16. I'd been to see a Led Zeppelin film with a bunch of friends at the local cinema on a rerun. And I remember in the middle of Dazed and Confused thinking, I need to be doing this. This looks like fun. So I asked my dad if he would buy me a guitar for my 16th birthday, which he did. Bought me a classical guitar, and I just learned from there. And then it wasn't until I was in my kind of mid-20s that I started to play in bands. And then I played in lots of different bands, lots of different styles, lots of kind of heavy rock, then a couple of thrash bands as well.
Okay.
Some prog, a bit of everything along the way really. All with varying degrees of success, so we recorded some demos and various things, but was never really happy with them because you were always kind of tied to whatever the studio gave you back at the end of the day, and it never really captured the sound, so got very disillusioned with that after a while. But yeah, for about 10 years I was playing live regularly. Then in around about 96, 97 I kind of took a break really from music. I'd kind of fallen out with the whole live music scene, never really getting anywhere, and then I concentrated more on kind of family and career and things at the time, and then didn't come back till much later, till about 2005 I think, which was after the car accident we had, which kind of influenced the writing of Sandlow, and that was really the time I came back to music.
Okay. And that was the start of 9 Stones Close. Yeah,
I just recorded an album with some old friends of mine, a bass player that I used to write with, and an old singer. And we recorded an album under the name of Liebig called Severed. But we didn't really promote it very well. But it was out there, we were happy with the songs on it, and it was a nice start. And we'd started work on a second album, and we're about halfway through the recording process when lots of things happened. Basically, my father was ill, and then the singer had his problems with family and etc. And same with the bass player. So we said, well, let's put it on hold for a while. And while it was on hold, I took some of these tracks that I'd been working on and carried on working them, and decided, oh, let's make this into an album, which then became Sandlow. It just kind of happened very quickly over about a 5-month period. Putting the whole thing together, and suddenly it was finished and out there.
Okay. Well, I have to say I missed that one.
Most people did actually.
Yeah. Did it get any attention from the press or?
Not initially, obviously, because no one had ever heard of me. So,
yeah.
So what I did was I contacted Marillion, because they were doing the Marillion weekend in Port Zeeland, and asked them if I could just set up a stand there and give away some copies of the album, and they agreed, which was really cool. So I actually took a few boxes down there, about 500 copies I think of Sandlow, and stood in the bar with my little stand showing video and things, and I gave away all 500 copies over the weekend to the Marillion fans, and that's really where it got started, because one of the people that I got talking to was Franz Kalard from Dividing Line. He took a CD And eventually then he got back obviously to the US and gave me a call and said, I'm going to play the music on the show, which was really great.
Yeah.
And I did an interview on his show as well, which was fantastic. So that really got the ball rolling on the kind of internet radio, a bit of exposure. But also through that I met the keyboard player, Brendan. We were both stood in the bar one morning with a very big hangover. And we both struck up a conversation. He picked up my CD, he gave me his Privacy CD, and we chatted about music for a good half an hour or so. And promised to keep in touch. And yeah, a few months later he called me and said, would you mind playing on this Christmas track that I'm putting together for this Prog compilation, which I did. And then I sent him back something I was working on, and so I asked him if he would put keyboards on that. The chemistry was immediate.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, this is really going to work. And that's what turned into Fall Into Pieces. And unknown to me, he also sent on then the demo version to Mark, who recorded the vocal and wrote a lyric for it, and suddenly Nine Stones Close was expanding.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a kind of spontaneous, well,
yeah, very
mixture
spontaneous
of circumstances.
Yeah, it's kind of all fate, I think, the way things
Yeah.
came together. Because so it's just one of those things. If I hadn't been stood at the Marillion thing, giving away CDs, I would never have met Brendan.
Yeah.
Who through him then I met Mark. And it was the same with meeting Neil as well, the bass player. I was looking for someone to actually set up a couple of my guitars for me and give them a bit of TLC, because I never look after them properly. And a mutual friend said, oh, I know someone who fixes guitars and makes guitars. And she put us in touch, and he came over, fixed up the guitars, we got chatting about music, and eventually we had a bit of a jam with my son on drums, and a couple of beers, and after that I said, well, fancy playing bass on one of these tracks I'm working on. And we recorded the bass track to Traces there and then, and
Okay.
Neil was suddenly in the picture as well. So,
Okay.
so yeah, it all came together very quickly, really.
Yeah. Okay. And but the name Nine Stones Close? What's the story behind that, or?
Yeah, there is a bit of a story. I was looking for a name, obviously, after I'd finished recording San Lo, and I couldn't think of a decent band name. And my wife said, "Oh, what about Nine Stones Close?" I was like, "Oh, that sounds quite cool. Quite like that." I said, "What is it?" But it's actually a place near where I grew up in England. It's a group of standing ancient stones.
Okay.
Kind of a mini Stonehenge, but
Yeah.
not quite as impressive. So that's where the name came from, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting, of course. Yeah, it's always because, well, of course, a lot of bands have names, and sometimes you wonder, well, how do you come up with a band name? So.
Yeah, it's strange how these things turn up. Actually,
Yeah.
usually I must rely on Sarah, because she came up with the Lie Big one as well. That seems to remember. So.
Yeah. Okay, so well, you got an album. Now, I understood initially you released it on your own.
Yep. Yep. So initially, the intention was always just to self-release, sell it through the website, and kind of hope somebody picks up on it. Which is what we did, and I got some pre-orders initially. So we did a bonus CD for the pre-orders as well, which was just to say thanks to the people that put their faith in pre-ordering. And then it just grew from there, really. Started to get some airplay and more good feedback. One or two reviews came in, and then the Classic Rock Prog magazine review and so on. So it just started to grow a little bit, and the internet radio really helped with that. So like the Dividing Line, we did a couple of shows on there, and on air radio as well. And that's really kind of snowballed. And then it was through one of the DJs actually that Prog Rock Records found out about us. And he just contacted me out of the blue and asked, if we would be interested in signing with Prog Rock for the album. So I'm like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So we discussed it, and we're very happy. Went ahead, and I think they're a very good label. So Sean's really into his music, and they have some good bands on there. So it was an honour to be asked.
Okay, yeah, that's very nice. Of course, well, Sean is a musician himself, so
exactly.
obviously he cares a lot for the music.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah, he's very
nice.
much into the music, so and he puts a lot of work into promoting the bands and helping them. So
Yeah.
it's a nice label.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear. Now for Traces, you have, of course, well, I can see it behind you.
Yeah.
A beautiful cover by Ed Unitsky.
Yeah.
So, well, how did you get to ask him for the cover?
Well, it's another strange internet thing, actually. Basically, I knew a little bit about Ed, but not that much. But I recently bought the Tangents Place in the Queue CD, which I thought the artwork was stunning.
Yeah.
And I just thought at the time I was looking for what to do with the art and thought, well, should I do it myself or ask my friend to do it again? I thought now it'd be nice to do something a little bit more kind of at market this time, a little bit more interesting, because I thought the music deserved it as well. I wanted it to be much more of a package. So I just contacted Ed via Facebook, because I'd recently become friends with him on there, and I just asked him, would you mind doing the art for the album, would you be interested? And we exchanged a couple of emails, and I sent him 2 or 3 of the demo versions of the tracks, and he emailed me back and said, yeah, I'd love to do it. So after that we exchanged some ideas for themes and so on about the music and cover, and yeah, we did it all via email basically, so it just sent me proofs, and eventually we got the artwork together for Traces, and I think it turned out fantastic actually. Not just the front cover, which is stunning, but the booklet as well. I think the actual booklet is really, really good. So,
yeah,
really pleased.
Okay, well, Ed is of course a growing name when it comes to artwork. I mean,
absolutely, yeah, he's really
starting
to make a name now. So.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the Tangent, of course. He did a couple of covers for them. Flower Kings.
Yeah.
He did some work for Australian band Unitopia.
Yeah.
So yeah, he makes some really nice. Wait a second, I'm forgetting one. Guy Manning. Yeah, it's nice to see Ed doing so much beautiful artwork for the progressive rock bands.
Yeah, I think he's quite a unique artist actually. I like his style.
Yeah.
It's, he gives a very interesting take on certain images and things.
Yeah.
I think it's very good.
There's a lot of wind outside.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem. We're on the top floor now. It's
it might be on the recording. So for the viewers, the home studio is close to the water, high up, so we're catching a lot of wind.
Yeah, we get plenty of wind. So if you hear lots of wind effects on the next album, you'll know why.
Cheap effects.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So. Did you record, of course, apart from drums, of course, did you record everything here, or?
No, all of the guitars were recorded here, but the keyboards and the vocals were all done in the keyboard player and singers studios, so they have their own studio setups.
Yeah.
And basically we just did everything via the internet, so they sent me their final tracks, I sent them the demo track to play on, and eventually everything came back to me, and I mixed it all at the end and put it all back together. But it was an interesting way of working, obviously, with sending files across the internet all the time. So,
yeah.
But it worked really well. I think that's one of the kind of real fantastic things about modern technology is that you can do this now.
Yeah.
And without too many problems. I mean, really, the only difficulty was the size of the files and finding the right ways to send them.
Yeah.
But slotting them back in and everything is so easy now. And it just worked brilliantly, really good. I think we will do it the same way for the next album as well. So,
yeah.
It just seems to work.
Yeah, that's true. So you're not hindered by location problems, travel problems.
No. Well, only for playing live that can be an issue. Lots of people keep asking when we're going to play live, but yeah, the real problem with that's logistics.
Yeah.
Being spread over 2 countries, and everyone has jobs, families, and commitments. So it's very difficult to find time, and more importantly, money.
Yeah.
So we can all get together, rehearse, and actually do something. But we'd all love to do it. So we're still talking about options.
Okay.
It may well be kind of later this year or next year,
Yeah.
that we actually can do it. But at the moment, we're concentrating on the new album first, and if we get a chance in between, then great. But
Yeah.
it's not top priority at the moment.
Okay. Because you're the only one of the band living in Holland, or?
No, the bass player lives here as well.
Okay.
He lives a little bit further south.
Yeah.
But then the Brendan and Mark both live a long way apart in England as well, so
Okay.
it's not like they live near to each other. So,
Yeah.
so they don't see each other that often either. So
Okay.
it's very much an internet band.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but it is a band.
It is a band.
Yeah.
It
It's
is a
not
band,
a project, because that's of
Yeah.
course well, the advantage of modern technology is that you can easily do a lot of things. So often the question is it a project or is it a band? But
yeah, it's an interesting one. I think somebody said to me in an interview recently, "Oh, is it the Adrian Jones project or is it a band?" I said, "Well, the Adrian Jones project is not a very good name, so we'll skip that one."
yeah.
But no, it is a band. I think the interesting thing with Tracers was the chemistry between everybody. I think that's very much evident in the final album.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to believe that we weren't all playing in the same room when we listened to it, because I think one of the most amazing things is we were all on the same kind of musical wavelength. I could send the demo parts out to people, and I knew that what would come back would be good.
Yeah.
So there was very few discussions about what needed to be played or whatever, but we just I just let people do what they wanted.
Okay.
And generally it just came back perfect, and I didn't have to change anything, just get mixing basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a pleasure to work with them, and I can't wait to do it on the next album as well. Everybody's ready to do the next one. So
Okay. Well, you mentioned it a couple of times. It was my question, of course. A new album. I mean, this one is, well, it's out for a while, although officially it's released in this month, in May.
yeah, officially it's only just out.
Because of the Prog Records deal, of course. But you're already working on a new one.
Yeah, I've started writing for the new one. It's going to take a while, because I don't work very fast. But I have got probably about, I think, 3 tracks pretty much written on the acoustic. But then what tends to happen is once I get in the studio, I start changing things, and then it takes a while anyway, because I'll start adding parts and changing around, and so it never turns out as simple as just writing on the acoustic and then record it. So. But the intention is that actually I'm intending to start recording it this week. I've taken a bit of time off work to concentrate on it.
Yeah.
But as I say, with work commitments, family, and everything else that goes with life, it will take a while to get the demo versions up together, and then get the rest of the band involved. So,
Yeah.
So I don't foresee it being finished probably until early next year.
Okay.
But you never know; it could be quicker depending on how things go right.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's very nice to hear. Now, if we look back at Traces, can you tell a little bit what the album is about?
It's mainly about loss, really. Life, loss of loved ones, loss of innocence, loss of many things.
Yeah.
The reason the theme came about was it was around about the time that my father was dying from cancer. So lyrically, a lot of the themes are based around that time, and my thoughts and feelings at that time. So it's a little bit kind of dark in places, but I think it's also got some uplifting, interesting lyrics as well. Musically, say it was written over several months, because during the summer I wrote a lot of the riffs and things on acoustic, and then gradually built them up over the months and turned them into songs. But I wanted something that was a little bit more epic sounding than Sandlow. Sandlow was very kind of stark, dark, weird.
Okay.
And what I had been writing was much more kind of epic sounding. I wanted to get more acoustic kind of sounds into the mix as well. But I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. So I think the fortuitous thing was meeting Brendan and then Mark.
Yeah.
Because, Brendan added so much to the sound, texture-wise, and everything, that it's really become something on its own, I think, now, and looking forward to see what happens on the next album.
Okay. Yeah, already have an idea of a direction? Are you going to continue the line, or?
Musically it will be different, that's for sure.
Okay.
I never do the same thing twice.
Yeah. Oh, that's...
I mean, if you've heard Sam Lowe, I don't know if you've heard it or not, but it's very different to Traces. I expect that some elements of the sound will obviously stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
My playing is always a constant, but writing-wise, it very much depends on what mood I'm in and what I've been listening to, and obviously everybody soaks up influences that from things that they've been listening to.
Yeah.
And in the last year, I've been listening to a lot of much heavier material as well. So lots of Opeths, and my son's been bombarding me with lots of thrash and death metal and things. So I'm sure some of that will make its way into the music. But I'm sure it will still retain that melodic edge as well, because that's part of the way I write. Just can't seem to get away from that. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out myself, actually. So.
Okay. Oh. Well, we have something to look forward then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was very nice talking to you. Very well, interesting insights and of course well, what's behind Nine Stones Close story. Well, if you have anything to say to the viewers.
I'd just like to thank everybody who's bought the album so far and who's supported us so far, because really appreciate it. It's very difficult for kind of underground musicians and bands to really get their music out there nowadays, and we rely on kind of word of mouth, people writing reviews, people telling other people, or posting on websites and forums and things, and also to the internet radio DJs who have played the album, because that's really what helps to get the music out there and people listening initially. And that's really helped, so I'm very grateful to everyone who's helped us so far, and hopefully it will continue.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, thanks for
coming.
coming.
Well, good luck with the next album.
Thanks.
Okay.
Burning down the inside, hollowed out, near empty, a shell on the shore, washed by the sea. The sea